Doing well. It's weird to be on at 1 Pacific time, but for those joining us on the East Coast, we're glad to have you at 4 your time, and hope everybody's doing well. Want to welcome our panel today from baseball, head coach Chris Rodriguez, along with Nick Swanson. From men's basketball, head coach Damon Stoudamire, along with Jahbril Price-Noel. Women's basketball, head coach Bradley Davis, along with Brooklyn McDavid. And from volleyball, head coach Greg Gibbons, along with Riley Patterson. Hope everybody's doing well. I want to start with Coach Stoudamire and congratulate him on what became public for his extension, a 6-year extension, I believe it was, through I think 2025. And Coach, for me personally, congratulations. I know all of us kind of want to congratulate you too. And can you just take us through the process of getting it done, getting it signed, sealed, and delivered?
Well, for me, Zach, we spend a lot of time together. I'm thankful. I'm happy. There's a bigger picture to all of this. You have, right now, quite frankly, I almost didn't even want to put it out there because there's so many other things going on that's more important than me signing a new contract. So, just humbled, blessed, man. Happy to be here for another 6 years, and just look forward to continuing to build on what we've done over the course of the first 4.
This is maybe a strange question. I know how lofty your expectations are, and I know how hard on yourself you are. Would you say that you've exceeded your expectations or met your expectations in your first 4 years at Pacific, especially given the situation you inherited?
I don't really put anything on it like that in terms of, my expectation. But what I will say is I feel like the way I approached it is the first 3 years I knew I was going to have to adjust and do some different things. And I looked at last year just based on I looked at last year as my first year based on the number of scholarships I had, because I could have took anything. I felt like I could have been handed anything, but not having 13 scholarships was always going to hurt. But having those 13 scholarships, I felt like it was the first time that I was on the same playing field as the rest of the league. And so for me, I actually look at last year as my first year. In the first 3 years, we were just building, trying to figure things out.
Jahbril, can you kind of speak to what Coach Stoudamire has been able to do? You've been here the last 2 years of the 4 that Coach has been here. Can you give us some insight as to how he's grown the program and grown as your head coach?
I kind of feel like a veteran at this point, low key, because me and JB are now the older guys on the team in terms of length of stay here at the school. But me and him have, over the time, definitely cultivated a great relationship. He's hard on us. He really is. But at the same time, I know that it's hard love. He really does love us on and off the court, more importantly, because, he looks out for us. He understands what we go through on a day-to-day basis. He's been in our positions plenty of times before. He's played at the highest level. So, when he speaks, you kind of have you have nothing else but to, pay your respects and try to soak in all the information you can. So, as my coach, I'm proud of him as well. And I, sent a message saying congrats. And, that's part of the reason why I wanted to come here, to develop something. And, it's long term. So that after me, guys who can, say, oh, Jahbril went there, or, Justin Moore went there, or Jalil Tripp went there. And, they want to be a part of something like that, a legacy. So, yeah.
That's really well said, man. I'm going to get more into your path here coming up in a little bit. I want to go to Bradley. I know, Bradley, you were able to get your extension not too long ago, and I've enjoyed watching the synergy on campus between the men's and the women's teams in recent years. Can you speak to what Damon has done through your prism the last couple of years?
It's just been impressive to watch the culture that he's created and the guys like Jahbril that have come in through the program. It's honestly just been fun to be a next door neighbor in the office and to learn from someone like Damon as well. And but then more importantly, just to watch the kids and the young men that have come through the program and have now started to matriculate out of the program. I think it speaks pretty highly of not just Damon, but the entire coaching staff.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to have Damon around for 6 more years. It's welcome news for sure. I want to jump over to Greg with volleyball. Greg, any more news as far as the start to fall sports since the last time we were able to chat?
No. So no, I mean, we're being proactive. We're basically, our entire team and staff have started our self-isolation. So we can get back possibly August 9th. You know, there's a lot of things that are still, we're just going to keep self-isolating. I think the longer we wait, the better, just so we can see how these COVID numbers keep, what it looks like that curve is going to look like, if it's going on, more spikes, is it coming down? And I think the health department, the university, and Janet, we just had a meeting with her, just kind of informing us, it's just being patient, but, at the same time, we talked with our girls and they're excited. I mean, if this gets us one step closer for all of us to be back together, it's kind of an exciting thing, but we're still just planning on August 9th as that date where we get there, but just in a holding pattern. That's it right now.
Riley, first of all, welcome, junior from Sonora, out of Sonora High School. You're going into your junior season, just to clarify, but can you speak to kind of what you're going through right now as a student athlete in that situation where you're one of the athletes that's really waiting to see what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we've been in self-isolation for 3 days now, so I'm just here at home kind of staying away from my family and everything. So it's definitely difficult and weird being in this situation because really none of us have gone through this before. But I'm really excited to get back. So hopefully August 9th we can get back and see all my team and my coaches and everything. So hopefully it works out.
How have you been able to stay active and keep getting ready during this time?
Yeah, so I have a little home gym at home, so I've been doing that. And then we have a full court basketball court at my house, actually. So just been working on the court a lot with my brothers. So that's been good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to jump to baseball. Welcome in Coach Chris Rodriguez and also Nick Swanson. C-Rod, from a baseball guy's perspective, can you kind of enlighten us on what's been going through your mind watching Major League Baseball the last couple of days? I guess both the excitement of having it back and then the craziness of what's gone on, especially with the Marlins in the last 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, obviously it's fun watching baseball back on TV again, and even whatever capacity it truly is, it's a little awkward watching a game with empty crowds and empty stadiums, but I've got a couple people that are playing that I've talked to and who are part of it. And honestly, from that level, they're just happy to be back on the field again and be doing what they actually love to do. And the Marlins situation, yeah, it's crazy. It just makes it real, and we got to make sure that we're balancing off what we want to do and the true safety of everything. And, as long as we keep that in our minds, we should be all right. But it's fun to watch baseball back on TV.
Damon, what are your thoughts on how the NBA's handled everything, and what do you feel like it would have been like for you if you had to be in that bubble? And I'm sure you'd still talk to some of the guys that are taking part in this right now.
I would have absolutely went and played. I think they've done a great job. I wish that every sport could go into a bubble because I think it makes the most sense. And I think that that's why, on the initial, I think every sport or everybody, when they get back together, is going to have some people test positive or whatnot. But, I'm excited that they were able to get those teams back up in there. I'm excited to see basketball. It's a little different, it is different, but I'll take it right now. So I'm happy, and I'm up here looking at a game, veering to my right a little bit at the same time I'm on here watching, trying to see what's going on. So just the fact that we got some summer b-ball, I'm happy.
Amen. Jahbril, what's it been like in Canada? Are you right now just outside of Toronto at home?
I'm inside Toronto. Yeah.
Okay. I thought. So where's Scarborough? I thought
Bro,
Scarborough.
it's like. So I always tell this to people. I'm like, think of it like as New York. Like New York has Brooklyn,
It's like a borough.
Manhattan, Bronx, but it's
Really?
all like inside New York, basically. So like
Okay.
the city of New York. So same thing as Toronto. Scarborough's inside of Toronto.
Okay. How have things been up there, and has the response from the country kind of been different than the one that you've observed happening in the United States? Just out of curiosity.
Most definitely been different. I would say a little bit more strict. Fines are being thrown out like crazy. You have to wear a mask everywhere you go. It's very, mandatory, very disciplinary. But I think it's for a greater cause. Our numbers, like everybody else, we've seen our numbers go up and down. But I think one thing that was kind of smart that we're doing over here, or the government's doing, it's not us because I don't call the shots, but we're still kind of in stage, like I think it's like 1.5 or something. So you still have to be like, okay, like maybe 6 people, still keep your distance and whatnot. So it's like we see our numbers dropping, but they're still being very keen on, sticking to the script. So
What was the reaction from some of the folks when they basically wouldn't let the Blue Jays play at Rogers Center and force them to go to Buffalo? Was it a positive? Was it a negative?
I mean, I think it wasn't negative, but I mean, it kind of does suck because it's like, it's our team. So it's like, why do we have to go to Buffalo to whatever? But at the same time, a lot of us understand. I don't think anybody was going to really go to the games like that anyway, given the circumstances right now. But yeah, overall, it's weird. Like, it's just really weird times right now. So, yeah.
Yes, it is. I want to welcome Nick Swanson. I see him on my screen just to the right of Jahbril. Nick, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
I am well. And what are your thoughts right now on both having baseball back and the craziness of what's gone on as a baseball fan and as a baseball player?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy seeing baseball on TV. There's certain days where I'll look at like the probable pitchers and see if I like this pitcher, I'll go watch that game for a couple innings, see him throw. And I just kind of hop around, but I'm just excited that it's back and I'm ready to get back to campus and start our season too. So.
Yeah, speaking of your season, you're coming off an abbreviated redshirt junior season. You're a Stockton native. By the way, where are you right now? It looks like you're like on the side of a mountain or something.
I'm in Aptos on the back.
Okay, you are.
Yeah.
You're kind of on the coast. Nice. It's a good place to be.
Yep.
You had a great start to 2020, and you're another one of those cases where you had to just have been really disappointed to see it come to an end. You'd pitched 6 1/3 innings in 2020 before it came to an end. You did not allow a run in 7 appearances. Did you feel like you were rolling as good as your numbers were indicating?
Honestly, not really. The numbers kind of lied, to be honest. It kind of just shows you that our defense and the rest of the guys in the bullpen are pretty good, because I would come out there and I just didn't feel like myself and early on. So I would go out there and kind of tear it up a little bit, and then I'd have some guy come in and get big outs. And so stats look good, but mostly attributed to the other guys.
I hate to call you kind of a liar here, but you seem to make a habit of starting seasons well, because last season you didn't allow a run in your first 13 appearances, and this season you were off to doing something similar. So obviously you're doing something right. Is there a key in your mind to starting a season the way you've started the last couple of years?
No, really. I just go out there and try to compete, and we start every day like it's opening day. That's C-Rod's big thing. So game 1 is the same as game 20, and game 20 is the same as game 48. So I just go out there and kind of do what I need to do. And I don't really like to pay attention to the stats. We have a good fan at the stadium, George, and he always will like mention the stats before the game. Like, oh man, I didn't want to hear that, but here's what it is. We like to just treat every game the same. So
it's a good way of going about it. Brooklyn is, did I lose Brooklyn on my screen? Where is she? Oh, there she is.
Right.
Sorry, my my application was covering here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am well. Where are you right now?
I'm in Stockton.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're going into your senior season. You had a whale of a year last year. Your preseason all conference You were on the Katrina McLean Award watch list, which is given to the nation's best power forward. You went on to be all first team West Coast Conference. Can you put into words the season that you had, and was that the season that you were expecting to have last year?
As much as the awards sound great, it wasn't a season I was hoping for because we didn't come out as a team on top, and so the personal awards don't really matter if our team is not doing well. So we should have placed higher in conference, and we could have put ourselves at a better position. So once we do that, then I'll be happy with those personal successes.
So I totally get that sentiment, but I mean, you also had a great individual season, which shouldn't be ignored. I mean, you had 5 20-point games. I want you to reflect back on one game in particular. You went for 32 at Oregon State, which, at a Pac-12 school, it's a nice stage for you. Can you reflect on that performance? It was on November 11th of last season.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wasn't thinking that game. Like, it was like they really they had these really tall power forwards who are like 6'5", 6'6", and they look intimidating. And they didn't guard the mid range. So all I did was shoot mid range jumpers. And they just didn't come up on me. So I just shot up the whole time. Like, that was all I did. I watched the game over with my dad though. We watched Oregon State a couple games so we could see what we were gonna do before we came into that game. And he was like, just shoot jumpers. Like they're not gonna guard it. So
I think you went 14 of 20 from the floor in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I appreciate your modesty, but now I'm going to let Coach Davis kind of brag on you a little bit and talk about both the season you had and some of those great performances.
Yeah, Brooklyn's a consummate team player. She has an enormous amount of care and concern for her entire team. So I know the way she thinks, and that's what makes her such a great player and such a good person to be around. But she had some amazing individual games, and I thought she had a good step, and I think she's being honest when she might have had different ideals for the season, as we all did, and we wanted to place higher going into the conference tournament, et cetera. So to kind of position ourselves better, and that didn't happen. But to go back to what your point was, yeah, she had some really good games, and her approach her junior year was a solid one. And I know, like the best of them, she's going to go back and reevaluate how she approached the junior year and approach the senior year even better in a way that I think we'll all be proud of.
Bradley, how much are you going to lean on Brooklyn this year as a senior and as a player that has been a star for you in the past?
Quite a bit, and it's something we started talking at the end. Even through COVID, you start to have those conversations just little by little. But it's quite a bit. I don't think it's any secret that Brooklyn and Higgins are top two, and they're going to attract a lot of attention, as they should. And I think as we go into next year, it's going to be on players like Brooklyn to not just perform the best, but make the right decisions. And that's something I thought she got a lot better at this as a junior. So being able to put the ball in her hands and trust that the best will come is something we're going to want to do.
Awesome. I'm hoping there's a season and that we get to watch. I want to go back to Riley. And Riley, you started all 30 matches for the Tigers last year, and you led the conference in kills, 419 kills, which is really, really impressive. 26 kills against USF, which led all WCC players for most kills in a single match. Can you take us back to that USF match and how dialed in you were?
It was a really fun game. I feel like that was a long time ago, so I don't really remember it, but I kind of just remember Gabby just feeding me, and it just clicked, so just kept going. So it was a really fun game.
What was the key for you to have the year that you had overall with the number of kills? Because that's a stark number of kills. Was it, obviously athletic ability comes into play, but when you have that many kills, is there something else that you're doing that's leading to that?
I think it's mentally just being ready for it and just being mentally tough. So, yeah.
Greg, we seem to have modest student athletes here today, so I'm going to chuck it over to you. I'm going to going to set you up, and you can talk about Riley and both that match that I was talking about with USF and just the year she had last year with leading the league in kills.
Yeah, well, let me start off. I mean, here's a girl that, due to a couple unexpected injuries last year, when our all-conference outside hitter went down, Riley was our starting opposite. I mean, she wasn't an outside hitter for us. And I remember calling her in and going, hey, you know what? Guess what? We need you on the left side. I need you to take ownership of this. I need you to – and holy cow, did she. You know what I mean? From all of a sudden she changed. I mean, we basically had her playing completely different defense. We had her just coming in, where she was really set. I mean, I still believe she's an opposite. That's our starting outside hitter, where she just took that mentality, went over to the left side, kept working hard, was taking rep after rep after rep. And then, but I mean, the one good thing that didn't change is, I mean, here's a sophomore for us that just mentally said, okay, here I go, and took ownership of it. And I mean, in all areas of her game, I mean, you talk about a growth mindset. It was just, I don't think she ever settled on, well, I got 20 kills, I got this or that. I mean, it was always, when we're doing video, when we're doing things, it was just her growth mindset, and her teammates were, God, it's about the process. It's about our journey of getting there. And every day she was working on something. She put herself in so many opportunities, and we helped that to where she was failing in a lot of areas every day, and I think it's really helped her to where, she kind of, I mean, that wasn't a goal ever. I don't think we ever talked about it. You can, that, hey, Riley, we want you to be the kill leader for us this year. It just, I think with that mindset that she had, she just found a way. And what's pretty remarkable is she's doing it against some of the biggest girls like she's getting these kills against 6'5" opposites, against, 6'4", 6'3", 6'2", and she's 5'9" with their shoes on. But I'll tell you what, I'll put how heavy a ball, you talk about that competitive, that drive that you have is here's a girl just put her on any, I mean, I've been hit by one of her balls, and her, I mean, I was like, what the crap, I mean, I mean, she hit a girl last season that flipped her rear end. I mean, feet flipped over her head. She hit her so hard. So, I mean, she's got an absolute cannon, but I think, that jump that she's making now, I mean, we haven't even seen her best volleyball yet, but I will say her versatility and then that growth mindset that she has is, I'm comfortable putting her on the left, on the right. Heck, I mean, she hasn't played middle yet. Maybe she'll play middle blocker for us. You never know. But, I mean, it's just her and her teammates make each other better. So, I mean, but I can't say enough good things. And she rightfully deserved to get all conference like she did. So, but I think our best, not only for her, but for this team is coming, because for the first time we've had in 3 years, we have actual upperclassmen. So it's a pretty neat thing watching this team grow together in this journey we're on.
Riley, you had 18 kills in your collegiate debut against New Mexico State in 2018. How much did that performance in your collegiate debut kind of bolster your confidence and give you a good foundation moving forward?
Yeah, well, I was definitely nervous for that first game, but it definitely gave me a little bit of confidence to have that many kills, I guess. So it was a pretty cool, fun match to play.
Yeah, I bet it was. Greg, you're laughing. Anything else to add to that?
No, it's just, it's every day I get to come into this gym. And I mean, this is how Riley is, like she's about as nice a person as you can be. And she's like, oh yeah, it was just a fun match. It was a fun match. But then you get on a court with her and she's going to tear your throat out, so it's a lot of fun where that switch just goes off, and it makes it for, I mean, look at her, like that little smile she has right now, but then you go down to a volleyball court, lace up the shoes, and it's game on. It's a completely different person. It's pretty neat.
Sure. All right, I want to go around the horn. This is a question that we have, and it's for both the coaches and the student athletes. I'm going to start with Bradley, and this is the same question, and again, I'll take it around the horn. We're seeing it kind of play out right now with professional sports that are underway, but how would you possibly feel playing in front of no fans, and will it affect how you play, how you get motivated, and what have you? I'm going to start with Bradley and go around the horn with the coaches first.
I mean, I think to say that there's going to be no effect would be lying. There was obviously some, you play this because you enjoy playing in front of fans. That's part of it. But it'd be an adjustment. And it's just one of those things where in this day and age with what we're dealing with, we would have to adjust. I think the competitive nature still kicks in, and whether you're coaching on the sidelines or you're playing on the floor, you're still going to get competitive. And the one thing, even on TV that you start to hear so much more of is how much talking there is in every single sport, on the floor and from the bench, from the sideline, et cetera. So that just becomes a different aspect of it. But yeah, it'd be a change. It'd be a difference. No lie. But to be honest, we've had a couple arenas like that. And you have to make that adjustment going into it, that you got to bring some more energy or something as you adjust going into that kind of arena or that kind of scenario.
Damon, how about you? I know personally from watching a lot of your practices, you bring a ton of that energy yourself and kind of use it to get your guys motivated in practice. What are your thoughts on playing in front of no fans if that's going to be the reality?
He's muted.
He's muted.
All right.
We got. Oh,
I said I'm looking forward to it because it's a couple guys that play better in empty arenas than crowded arenas. So it looked like a glorified practice. So I'm hoping I can get some contributions from different places. I'm looking forward to it. So that's one of the things for me. You will have to bring your own energy. We have these things. I know Brad and the women's team have played them also. We play those closes. So to me, those close scrimmages are an indication of maybe, and I'm hoping what's to come, because Jahbril, I don't know our record, but we've been whooping everybody in these close scrimmages lately. We've been plus 20. We've been plus 20 in these close scrimmages a lot lately. So I'm just hoping we have some over into the season. But in all honesty, to me, it's gonna hurt teams. Gonzaga, BYU, those guys, one of their advantage playing them at home is the crowd. Without that crowd, to me, like, it levels the field a little bit.
C-Rod, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I think baseball's a lot different than basketball, but we talk about the intrinsic fire and desire of playing the sport. It's got to come from internal versus external. And so for us, there's no fans. It'll make a little difference in the game, but the overall output, I mean, I'm going to hold my players accountable for if we're stacked of fans or if we're empty, just because that's kind of the way that we do things. And so I think in the WCC, the crowds aren't that crazy to where it's not like you're going down and playing, in the ACC or the SEC where you're grabbing 15, 20,000 fans. And in those college sections, you've seen the videos of the crowds yelling ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4, all the way up to like 15 straight pitches. And it just gets a little crazy. And I don't think we don't really have that so much in the WCC. So affecting us, I don't see it being that big of an issue.
Greg, how much of a different dynamic is it for volleyball if you're playing in front of no fans?
Well, one, I love our fans. I mean, I think we have a huge home court. I've even had other coaches say they don't like to come to our place because our fans, I mean, they're just loud. I mean, it creates an exciting environment, but I mean, we try and replicate that even in practice. We're always pumping noise through there. I mean, depending wherever we're going. So now I guess we can play in a quiet gym, because even like we'll replicate when we're going to BYU, we'll play band music. We'll play all different kinds of things to where they have to, concentrate. Of course, I look forward to the day we can get our fans back. But, ultimately in talking with our girls, I mean, what's most important is what they think. And they're just excited to be back and to, the thought of even for them to competing. I mean, look at this. It's been 5 months since they've been on a court together. And we even brought up, worst case scenarios. What if we could only get together to train? And they're excited about that. Can we just, which makes me happier than ever because they're just, God, we just want to work with coaches. We just want to be together so we can work out together. But yeah, I mean, it's different, but at the same, as a couple of our student athletes said on a Zoom last week, hey, we get to play volleyball. I don't care who's in the gym. Let's play volleyball. So ultimately, but yeah, of course, do we have great fans? yeah, I can't wait till the day we get back our fans, you know, and going into those environments, you know, even in our own conference. But for now, I'm just excited for our student athletes that we're one step closer to getting back to being together again and competing inside a gym and learning together again.
Riley, would you echo those sentiments?
Sorry, hi.
You're good.
It's definitely going to be weird playing with no fans. It'll just be a lot quieter, and you'll hear everything everyone says. So that'll definitely be weird. But I'm just excited to get back and start playing with my team and everyone again. So, yeah.
Brooklyn, how about you?
I would say I'm just a little different. I actually feed off the crowd's energy a little bit when I'm playing. So and I like to look at my parents and stuff in the crowd. But I mean, this is something you would have to get used to. I'm excited to play basketball regardless.
Jahbril, I'd imagine you want to echo Coach Stoudamire's sentiments about like going to BYU and Gonzaga.
Yeah, that definitely adds a new dynamic. You know, you have to be creative. You have to really lock in. You know, because those places, like, you could be within 10 and then you could be down 30 within a millisecond because the fans just go crazy and you feel like you're lost in the sauce. So it adds a new dynamic. I think it also brings a competitive nature because you're on a neutral. Well, in the NBA, they're on a neutral floor. I don't know about our situation just yet because, you know, but if we do end up in a bubble situation, it's a neutral floor. So the odds are even. And I'm excited about that. We bring the energy every day in practice. But I think the weirdest part for me, though, is like, you know, I was talking to my dad about this yesterday. I'm like, yo, if it's game 7, you hit a game winner, what are you going to do? Like, you scream, and it's just like you're popping champagne with nobody. Like, you know, it's like there's no parade, there's no nothing. So it's like that's probably like the weirdest part for me, like, because some people feed off of that. Some people live for those, like, you know, quote unquote moments. So it's like, okay, you hit a game winner in game 7, and what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna run to? Like, you know, that's the weirdest part. But other than that, I think everybody's just excited to play, you know, the sport they love. So yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of saw it a little bit over the weekend with baseball. I think it was Matt Olson at the walk-off grand slam for the A's, and I don't think there was any social distancing happening at a home plate. I mean, it was a mob scene, and, you know, they had the water on each other, and that's a whole different story. Nick, how about you? I know baseball, especially for a pitcher by nature, you're kind of isolated on the mound and kind of in your own mind. But how does it change the dynamic if you're on the mound with nobody in the stands?
Honestly, I think it's going to be pretty much the same. I'm pretty like locked into my own thoughts and whatnot. So honestly, like, fan noise just doesn't really get to me. And so I think that's definitely going to be pretty the same, honestly. So I don't think there's going to be too much issue there.
Nick, I want to get to your path a little bit here. You're from Stockton. You went to St. Mary's High School, and you started your collegiate career at Delta. Did you always envision staying in Stockton or in the Valley when you went to apply to go to college?
Definitely out of high school, I thought Delta was going to be the best fit for me. You know, I was not really good in high school. I had nothing. And so I started getting recruited a little bit, and I knew I wanted to stay in California. That was my big thing. And then I went and took a visit with Coach Garco and Coach Santani, and I instantly fell in love with UOP, and it was the right fit. And, you know, I have all my family here in Stockton, and so it works out well where I get everyone out to the game all the time, and so it was fun. And then especially being with Coach Rodriguez now as the head coach, I mean, he's been with me for now. This is going to be the 5th year. He was there at Delta, and so it's really unique that we get that opportunity. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, C-Rod, would you say there's some simpatico there with both of you guys having been at Delta?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we Swanee and I, we go way back, obviously. I mean, I think this is, as he said, this is like our 5th year together. And so he kind of knows who I am, forwards, backwards, inside out. And we shared a lot of details, a lot of those talks. And he knows the expectations. He knows who I am. He knows, he just, without even – the nonverbal stuff that he knows about me is more than anybody else on the team. So it's just because he's been around me for all those times.
Sure, I can imagine. From one extreme to the other, we talk about Nick going to St. Mary's High School and going to college right across the street. You go to Jahbril, who came from Toronto and had to come, you know, not only kind of a continent but a country away to go to college, and I'm sure that was a tough transition for you, Jahbril, that first year. What was the transition like, and has being in California become easier for you the last couple of years?
Definitely I've adapted to the lifestyle. You know, like even off the court, you know, taco trucks, simple stuff, wearing Crocs has become a habit. Other than that, other than that, you know, I wouldn't say it's difficult 'cause I went to prep school. I actually did go to prep school, so it wasn't that bad. But you know, as like anything, like I'm always, you know, from the East Coast to West Coast, that's a big, you know, culture shock for me. Like, you know, everything's more relaxed, you know, on the East Coast, everything's more up speed and everybody has somewhere to go, somewhere to be. You know, everybody wants to get things done now. On the West Coast, it's a little bit more slowed down. So I had to adjust to that. But I think basketball doesn't change no matter where you go. So, you know, I just try my best to, you know, be my best version of myself. So.
I know Coach Stoudamire knows his way around Toronto, but what was it like being recruited by Damon?
It's. I think my dad's friends were more like geeked out about it than me, you know, because they're like, you know, they're like OGs to me. So, you know, they're like, oh, your coach is Damon Stoudamire, and you know, because they remember, like, you know, Toronto fans, we really like are very prideful about, you know, our team and our city, most definitely, and you know, to see where our team has come has, you know, been a long way to winning a championship. So, you know, Stoudamire is, you know, an original pioneer to the movement of the Toronto Raptors. So I think it's a blessing. It's probably one of the dopest experiences. Like I can tell my kids later on in life, like, yo, I played for, you know, a Toronto Raptor, and hopefully, you know, I have dreams of being one myself. So I think it's amazing.
Damon, I see that gray in your beard. Did it get a little grayer when you hear him talk about how his parents and grandparents are more excited about your name being involved?
Oh man, no, you know, it's funny. I actually went. Jahbril was in prep school, but I did go to Toronto to talk to his parents. And when I went, you know, when I was done with the visit, unbeknownst to me, it was about 4 or 5 people waiting outside to, you know, get the memorabilia signed. But you know, I was good with, because you know, hey, I had a really great experience in Toronto. It was a lot of fun, and you know, shoots, you know, I wouldn't give back those years for anything.
Yeah, the original Toronto Raptor, Damon Stoudamire. Coach Davis, what was it like getting Brooklyn to come up to Stockton, and what was that recruiting process like? She's coming from LA, from Mission Hills. Was she always on your radar? How did that unfold?
She got on our radar a spring game down in LA. There was a club tournament that was going on, and I was down there for a weekend. I was actually down there to watch other people and Brooklyn's effort and her intensity. I was sitting right on the baseline. We were up close and personal. And there was a club coach who basically insulted her, and I think she heard it. He said something along the lines of, "Oh, you can box her out, no biggie, no problem. You know, just get the rebound." And you could see that she heard him say that, and then it was, all right, I'm going to prove everybody wrong on this floor right here. And that's where I started watching her, because she basically knocked out 5 people in order to get a rebound and outlet it, and then outran everybody to get the layup. So it was just one of those moments where you're like, who's that? And you know, you continue watching. She had the effort, the intensity, such a good individual when you're talking to her on the phone. And it wasn't a slam dunk to get her up here. You know, she's got Chicago roots as well. And so I think, you know, that area of the country was kind of a calling for her too. And hopefully it was just a relationship we were able to build that enabled her to come up this way to Pacific.
Brooklyn, do you remember that moment?
I remember that game. I don't remember that moment. He's brought it up several times. I don't remember that moment. It's just, I remember that game very well.
But you have that fire in you. Can you talk about what it feels like to have that intensity kind of burn inside you in moments like that?
In the games, like, I'm always told, like, you know, I'm too serious. I need to laugh, smile before the game, but I really don't break a smile before we start. And like hours before the game, Bradley always used to like talk to me, like joke around with me in the beginning of the game, and I'll just look at him like, and just keep shooting. But I don't know. It's just being intense is like associated with basketball for me. Like, you know, you either go all the way in or you don't go in at all. So.
Hey, Zach, can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
I think everybody on here needs to see Brooklyn before a game. I caught her before a game one time.
Yeah.
Man,
I was gonna say I don't always joke around with her or talk to her before a game. Sometimes I walk about 10 feet around her.
Yeah, she's intense now. She's intense. Boy. She's intense.
I've actually noticed I don't get to many women's games because usually the men are playing and it's opposite schedules. But I have noticed the intensity, especially in game, on Brooklyn's face. So it is there. It is there. Brooklyn, how are you guys going to do this year? What's your outlook on 2020 and 2021 if we have a season?
I was just talking to Valerie about this and Liana, two of the seniors on the team. I'm very excited for this season. I'm excited to have the freshmen come in and then all the new girls we have come in. I think it's about 4 new girls. And just to, you know, invite them into the family and we'll just be a close-knit team. I think that's the key to winning this year, is if we're like a player-run team, then we'll be put ourselves in the best position for conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The season that is scheduled to start the soonest is volleyball, of the sports that we have on here. So Riley, what about you and thoughts on the season that you guys could be having?
Yeah, this season I'm really excited because we have upperclassmen, so that'll be cool. And I'm super excited for the freshmen to come in. I'm pretty close with a couple of them, so I'm really excited for them to come.
What's the key to your service aces? You had 27 of them last year. Coach Gibbons talked about you got a heavy ball. Does that apply on your serves?
Sometimes, I guess. I was kind of going back and forth between 2 different serves, so sometimes he'd be like, do this one, then do this one. So I guess it was just luck if I was going to get an ace or not.
Greg, can you give us some insight as to what it's like to advise your athletes on, like, when they're serving? If you have a talented server, it's kind of a risk reward thing, right? I mean, a service ace is a service ace. You get the point without the ball being put in play. But at what point do you kind of advise them to either, you know, simplify or take a step back? What's the art of coaching that element of the game?
I don't know. I mean, I think everything we do is about keeping it as simple as possible. See ball, hit ball. You know, I think a lot of it is just, you know, we also believe one of our core, you know, is speed kills. You know, it kills us or it kills them. So I think we're aggressive by nature. I think there's that fine line, you know, and that's where I've got a phenomenal staff and even better players that understand that, you know, we're going to put you in situations where if we want to get better, we've got to fail at this. And obviously, statistically speaking, serving is the most important part of the game, you know, service aces. The second most important part of the game is service errors. So there's that fine line we're always kind of playing with, you know, and trying to really develop each one of them. You know, if you're a visual learner, we're going to try and show you everything you're doing. If you're a tactile learner, just by you doing it, you know, which most people are. If you're an auditory learner, you're going to have my voice inside your ear, you know, nonstop. But a lot of it is just by repetition, you know, and pointing out, you know, I mean, just showing them different angles or whatever is just rep after rep and finding that fine line, what works for Riley, because we're working on a couple things from her, you know. But the thing that we had to change is before she was a high percentage server of just putting a ball in play. Well, what good is that when they're converting 99% of the serves you're putting in play, right? So then we worked on her getting a little more aggressive. And I got to be honest, when she first started changing some things like anything, it was terrible. I mean, I swear, I think she bounced the ball when she was first working with it, like on our side of the net. I mean, it bounced before it went over the net. So but that's part of, right? If you put yourself out there and you fail at something, you're going to get better. I mean, at that point, she had nowhere to go but up, right? So it was a pretty cool thing. And now I think she's learned, you know, she spent a lot of time with our staff too, and then just kind of taking pieces of feedback and then kind of creating her own little thing. And then now you see the trajectory on her serves. Now she's understanding why. And we even changed the angles that you serve at passers. You know, she had to learn how to serve all across. Like you'll see her move all over the back line depending on, because everyone's got a hole in their pass. It's just about trying to find it. And she got really good at being smart about it and being aggressive. And I think that goes with all of our players. You know, you have a growth mindset, great things are going to happen.
That's a great answer. I want to jump up to C-Rod, and I'm going to ask you, C-Rod, and then I'll jump over to Nick. But I want your take first on what makes Nick so effective, what's made him especially effective the start of each of the last 2 seasons. I mean, pitching is a funny thing. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, this is now 6-7 years ago, Ryan Dull came through Stockton as an ace prospect. And, I mean, 26th round pick or whatever he was. Nobody could hit him. He put up great numbers. And he found his way, but you can kind of be an under the radar type guy and be a pitcher and have great success just doing what you're doing. And I feel like looking at Nick's numbers, he kind of fits that bill the last couple of years.
Nick does a couple things that really separates him from most everybody. He's a complete different look than anybody we have on our staff. He's like a low 3/4 arm. And not one he couldn't make a ball go straight if he wanted to. So it's 87 to 89, with heavy sink, arm side run. So that ball really dives into the right hand hitters like hard. And then he throws a late break slider that breaks the opposite away to those right hand hitters. So you don't know which way the ball's going. He starts the slider right at the right-handed batter's hips, and they bail out, and then the ball breaks back over the plate, and it's been a wipeout pitch for him regarding that. His splits between right and left are absolutely crazy. The right-handers just don't hit him because the way the ball moves with them. Left-handers, his changeup isn't quite as good as his slider, but the changeup still dives. He just doesn't have the same control. He could throw that slider anytime he wants to. The changeup, if he builds and gets a little bit more control in the changeup, I think he'll even those splits out between rights and lefts a little bit more. But it's a complete different look. And plus, he's a 1 to 2 inning type guy anyways. So he's a one-time through the lineup. Hitters they don't get to see him multiple times. And because of that, it becomes really difficult because they don't know where the ball's going to go.
Nick, just to expand on that, as far as your success versus righties, is it deception? Is it arm angle? What do you attribute it to?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. So righties, I think, have the biggest disadvantage because if you take a pitching rubber, my back heel clip is on the furthest towards third base. So my whole foot is not even on the rubber, just my back little spike. And so basically when you're looking at the batter, you're throwing like pretty much at them, behind them a little bit. So I think the slider's definitely big because I throw it at them and they think it's going to hit them and then it's just plopped right over the plate. So I think that's definitely big for me. And when I throw those sinkers, it's just a tough pitch for them to get down and into. So I think that's just kind of my success right there against those guys.
I hope we get to see you guys play whenever you can at the start of next year, because I'd love to see you throw that slider from that angle, especially to righties. I think that would be a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to jump over to Damon now, and I want you to talk about Damon Jahbril's growth from his freshman year, actually from high school to his freshman year, and then freshman year to his sophomore year. I saw the growth on the sidelines. You, I'm sure, saw it a little more in depth from the bench.
Yeah, Jahbril, he came in. He's a guy that I think, is really versatile. And, when he came in, he started. He had ups and downs. But, I always knew Jahbril was a promising player. And then last year to start the season, we go to Hawaii and, I didn't play him. And when we got back here, as a coach sometimes, you sit back and, he wanted to talk to me, but I wanted to talk to him. And I, before he spoke, I just apologized because he didn't deserve that. So I threw him in the starting lineup, and I thought Jahbril played well, came back out the lineup. And then in conference play, I felt like he was one of our best players, and you could see him coming. He probably hit 3 or 4 big shots in conference play. The one I remember the most was against Pepperdine. He hits one from the corner. Against LMU on the road, second to last game of the season, he hits one there. But he really made timely shots. There were a lot of games where, Pierre and Justin, I just felt weren't playing as well. I put him at point guard. He came. He did that against San Diego. Won the game. Actually, did that against LMU as well. On the road. Really versatile player. He's challenged me as a coach because he can play all over the floor. And I think at times I've held him back. But I think that this year I'm looking for big things from Jahbril. I've counted on him during these times. And, with the growth that he's had, a really good, articulate kid that understands a lot of the things that are going on in this world today. Couldn't be a better ambassador for the University of Pacific and the athletic department. And, it's been a pleasure to have him. And I know he's gonna do good things. He cares. He has a great work ethic, one of the best work ethics on our team. You never have to, to wring his arm to get him to do different things. Academically, he's been great in the classroom. Just a really mature person, and you can see that growth, like you said, Zach, from his freshman year up till now. And I think that everybody on this call here, you should expect really big things from Jahbril. I think it's his time. He's really ready to take the next step.
I'm going to get Jahbril's thoughts here in a moment, but we are coming down the home stretch, so I want to just drop in that if anybody has any questions, you can send them through the chat, and we'll get them asked to either the coaches or the student athletes. But if anybody wants to ask a question, you're more than welcome to go to the chat and to send it along.
I got a question, Zach.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see Leland on here. Leland, I just want you to do this. When I ask this question, just go like this. So I asked Tim Dixon to you about a month ago. I'm probably the only one on this call in athletics that really appreciated you bringing all that granola and oatmeal. Do you have any more oatmeal?
Leland's muted. Is there any way, Bree?
Okay,
there you go.
I gotta go contact them again, Pepsi and Warehouse and Tracy, and well, I don't know when you guys are coming back, so I don't know when to contact them. So
hey, don't worry, you can contact me. I just wanted to put this on the spot.
You just want the oatmeal.
I asked him like a month ago to make that call because Leland, there is only one thing I like more than being around my team and all of that right now. I like free. And maybe you pretty penny with all that. Just want to let you know that. Leland, thank you for the oatmeal. If Tim doesn't get back with you, Tim, you text him my number because that's irresponsible of you, and I just want you to know that. Then Leland, me and you can make our own connection.
All right, sounds good.
By the way, Leland, I had some. I didn't know you had vineyards. I had some wine from one of your vineyards the other day.
Oh, Macchia?
I was socially distancing with Gary Whale, and we shared a glass from. It may have been Macchia, actually. But
okay.
we looked at the label and we were surprised to see Nova Vineyards on the back. So yeah, I mean, Damon's been getting the oatmeal and I've been getting the Leland wine.
Back to Jahbril now, Zach. You can go back.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Jahbril, I wanted to bring up one game in particular, and it was 2 years ago. And actually, it's funny and ironic because it was a game Pacific lost. I mean, I think it was like by 14. We were at Boise State. But what struck me in that game is the way you ran the point. You came in, and that was really the first time that I saw you run the point and really look the part, especially for a 6'7" guy. And we've talked about this on post-game interviews, but is running the point something you're comfortable doing and something that moving forward you want to do?
Yeah, most definitely. I grew up learning from like my father, to be as versatile as possible. I grew up watching Grant Hills, Penny Hardaways, guys who have size but also can, handle, pass, shoot, do everything across the board. So, I think that helped me a lot. I think that when I have the ball in my hands, I feel like a lot more in control. I control the pace. I'm a good passer. I think that's probably one of my best, traits on the court is my passing ability. So, just try to stay calm and piece the pieces together with everybody on the court. I feel like sometimes I'm that bridge. So, yeah.
If there's an area where you want to grow in this upcoming season, what would that be in your game?
There's a couple areas. I think over time my first year I didn't shoot really well at all. in my second year, I think I've become a knockdown shooter. Not nowhere near as good as Gary, but I try to aim for somewhere around there. I'm not the Armenian sniper, but maybe I could be the Toronto sniper one day. I don't know, whatever. But other than that, I'd say my physical, just being stronger, being 6'7". Sometimes you got like shorter guys on you. You might have bigger guys on you. So just taking those bumps and bruises. Definitely defense, staying in front of my man. Just being more deceptive and not as much as a liability. I have my moments where I'm a great defender, and I have moments where sometimes I may be a liability, and that's just the honest truth. And then overall, just leadership and maturity, and just like staying aggressive. I feel like when I'm aggressive 24/7, I'm at my best, and I feel like I help the team out a lot more than when I shy and defer away from myself. So yeah.
Yeah, well, not many people are the Armenian sniper, and I do mean that in more ways than one. Brooklyn, how about you? If you had to choose an area where you want to really see your game grow going into your senior year, where would it be?
First, there's two main ones. First, I would say defense. Like when I get on the court, people always see me as an offensive threat, and I really wanted to be like a two-way player. I want them to see me as a defensive threat too, as well. And then handling the ball, like if I get the rebound, like handling the ball and be able to like know where to pass it and not shy away from that.
Cool.
That's the two things.
Riley, I know you're going into your junior season, but I assume you want to keep killing the ball the way you are. Where else do you want to grow with this upcoming season?
I definitely want to become more mentally tough, and also I really want to improve my serve receive.
Sweet. Nick, I know your season's a ways away, but anything else you want to work on for the upcoming year?
That lefty split is something that definitely needs to be improved, and we'll try to work that out. Develop a changeup. That third pitch is definitely key against a left-handed batter in comparison to a righty. So I think both those things will lead to quite a bit more success.
Hey man, I'll say this: for this from a lot of experience, if you turn pro and you get to like the high A ball level and you have a changeup that's ready to go, I mean, you are going to be light years ahead of everybody else in A ball. That is a pitch that, I mean, even the top prospects coming out of high school have struggled to develop a changeup. So I can tell you, if you have a wipeout slider and a serviceable change, you're in pretty good shape when you get to high A ball. Just kind of keep that in your back pocket. I think that does it. Unless anybody has any questions that we missed, you could raise your hand. We'll unmute you if you don't, or if you do. But if you don't, I think that about does it for today. Want to thank everyone for showing up. Thanks to the panel. It's been great having you all, and we look forward to seeing you all next time. And until then, go Tigers.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You all.
Thank you.
Yeah.